A letter has been circulated by British members of parliament to the government of Keir Starmer in the United Kingdom. Alternatively, in the United States, US congressmen and congresswomen have written a letter to the Biden administration to change its policy on Pakistan, specifically the illegal incarceration of Imran Khan. In the past 24 hours, the sisters of Imran Khan, two of his sisters, have had access to him after almost a month, during which he himself has been kept incommunicado in solitary confinement, cut off from the world in a small prison cell at the age of 72. After 460 days, there is growing concern that his life is in danger. And this has been articulated by his sisters after they met him. They themselves were illegally detained. This comes as one of his captors, one of these people who's kept him hostage, a woman by the name of Maryam Nawaz Sharif, who is the first chief minister of Pakistan's largest province, Punjab, has threatened Imran Khan, saying that before she leaves, or this, as she calls it, this fitna or this aberration will be removed soon, basically her words. So what is going on? What's going on in the United Kingdom, in the United States, given these threats to Khan's life? To get a better perspective on this, we're joined by Nav Grewal. She's a journalist who's been covering this issue and many other issues in the UK, especially around the recent protests against the government. Nav, thank you so much for joining us. Let's get straight to it. What is this momentum that is being built in the UK by MPs of the ruling coalition, the Labour Party, for Imran Khan and against what is happening in Pakistan?
Well, thanks for having me. We've got 20 MPs here in the British government who are calling on the Foreign Secretary, David Lammy, to put pressure on the Pakistan government, in effect, to get the release of the former Prime Minister Imran Khan. To a UN human rights group working in July, they've said that this detention actually of him being in jail violates international law. So his opponents pushed him out. And we know that in some days ago, his actual wife was released from jail. And we know that his sister is saying that he is in danger. But it's very surprising here in England why Keir Starmer is suddenly calling for this release of Imran Khan, because it seems strange, because he's been in jail for quite a while now. So it seems strange, why are they suddenly intervening now? What does this all mean? And obviously we have these human rights groups and the UN who do not believe that Imran Khan should be there, and we do not know his confinements or what he's going through in there. We have no idea.
It's quite a stark situation. Apparently, he has had food poisoning in prison, and but you know what's interesting as well is that the relations between the United Kingdom and and Pakistan continue. You have Jane Marriott, who's the High Commissioner, who under whose guard, so to speak, watch, so to speak, all of this has unfolded, these atrocities, human rights violations, and the British High Commission has been silent on all of this. The British Foreign Office, which previously was Rishi Sunak or the Conservatives were in charge, was completely silent on these human rights violations. In fact, the people that are accused of carrying out these violations are flying back to London and taking residence there. So how does this all of this make sense to you, Nav?
Well, it doesn't really make sense at all, to be honest, because in England right now we have various issues of our own, including the economy and much more. And there are many issues that need to be dealt with at home. So I'm rather surprised, and I know many others are, in terms of people that I know of the Muslim community, and also people in the industry who also work in the media as well. and even political commentators that I know, they find it very strange why all of a sudden 20 MPs will be putting pressure on our Foreign Secretary to get involved with this situation. I sometimes wonder what does this mean, and what is it in for our government? What are they gaining from this?
But then you have instances of, for example, this real estate tycoon settling, we're talking about Malik Riaz, settling this £190 million case over the sale of a property to the individual, for example, Nawaz Sharif's son or whatever. It's a very complicated case, but there was a settlement there. The money was transferred back, £190 million. It's still in an account in the Pakistani Supreme Court, allegedly. So there is a mechanism in place in the UK against corruption, against criminal enterprise, but at the same time, they allow these criminals to reside in their country or, country of origin.
Yes, it appears so, but it could never really be proven because they'll never admit to it. It's always hidden. I always call it tidy. It's almost tidy corruption, really. So it all looks very nice and very clean cut, and there isn't any evidence, there isn't any proof, and if there was any, it probably would have been destroyed already.
It would have been destroyed by the British already.
Yes, in terms of any proof of this kind of situation happening, in terms of them having these residences, it would not be transparent. So in terms of how it's done, there wouldn't really be anything on paper. It would be under
the British
table.
Virgin Islands or
yes.
Offshore accounts. Yes,
like under the table. So it's nothing which will be declared, because here in England everything has to be declared, tax, you name it, everything is on the table.
It's extremely difficult to open a bank account now in the UK if you're coming from outside and if you can't trace your source of income.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because everything's linked and everything's sourced. So anything that's not in the system is seen as in the black market, and it's not regulated. So everything here in England is regulated, including tax and so much more. And then obviously we have the issues of migration on top of that. So this all ties in. So anything that is happening like this would be covered up.
And all of this is happening. Pakistan is one aspect of this larger issue. As you're saying, you've got mass migration, you've got unemployment, you've got low wages, rising rent, and all of this. And then you have these mass protests over Gaza and the British complicity. Now it's complicity because there have been many reports on this, and research has been done over the past year and a bit on British complicity in Gaza, in what Israel is doing in Gaza. How does that play out? Because the intersection here is Palestine and Pakistan in some ways.
Well, in terms of Gaza, we have our Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, and he's urging Iran not to retaliate. He's saying that Israel has the right to defend itself and that they are firmly with Israel. And obviously, we still have Lebanon, which is under attack. So it's quite remarkable, really. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but back in the day when we had Tony Blair as our Prime Minister, who took us to war with Iraq, it's almost like we have a similar situation happening again, which is quite remarkable. And it's also questionable about where is our democracy, because back then I was always thinking that democracy died then, and now I think it definitely is dead.
With what's happening in Gaza, and despite these mass protests that just keep on building up and up and up, and yet there is the detachment.
So back then when we had Tony Blair as our Prime Minister, we didn't get a public vote on this to go to war with Iraq. And again, this is happening again. We don't have a public vote. So I do not think we have a democracy at all. So it's rather concerning because I do not know what situation we are going to.
And what do you have? What do you have?
A dictatorship.
What is it?
I think we're almost going along the same lines as the United States, and it is worrying what the outcome of that will be and the decisions that are made here, what the
What do you
future will
mean
be.
by are we
And
going along those lines as the US?
I mean, in terms of there aren't really any, if the outcome of the US election, I think, is paramount of what will happen here in the United Kingdom, because a lot of things that happen there, they filter down here, if that makes sense. So they go hand in hand. They are cousins. They go to war together. They do everything together. So it does make me think what human rights will be left here going forward, because there is so much silencing and cancelling here. And we have obviously the problem of the inflation. We have probably a crash which is going to be worse than the 2008 coming around the corner.
Wow. Well, and this is what you feel or you foresee or what the indicators are.
Well, I've worked as a financial journalist, and yes, I have knowledge of that, and also through people that I speak to, economists and other people, and intel that I have, and obviously my own analysis too, I guess.
And if I get the fulcrum of this is Gaza and the weight of the ethical, emotional, and moral weight of Gaza that is sinking all of
Well,
this.
yes, because we are watching civilians, many civilians are dying and nothing is being done. The United Nations doesn't really have any input, it doesn't really have any strength. And there are calls for a ceasefire which are not being met. And it's clear that Keir Starmer is not also going to help give a ceasefire because he is on the side of Israel. So there are no, it is very sad, but it's happening and it's still continuing. And it's also Lebanon who are paying the price. It's questionable who will face the price next.
Wow. All right. Thank you so much for that bleak overview, Nav Grewal, a journalist, and she also has her own YouTube channel. Please do subscribe. We'll put up that link on the screen for you. And take care. Be safe, Nav. Well, Nav Grewal joining us there from London, giving us an overview of what is going on in the UK at this moment, where Gaza is a big issue, and that's like almost become a defining factor on where you stand on things. And as she was saying, Keir Starmer and the British government stands on the side of Israel, which means it is standing against those millions of marchers that have taken to the streets of London over the past year and a bit. Do like, subscribe, and share this content, and take care of yourself. I'll see you guys next time.